And
I am live on my end.
all right. All right, and welcome to the show again, much earlier than normal with Brandon, Scoop, and myself, Robert. Guys, I had a very weird day. We're starting with the post-credit scene because I had a day.
Ooh.
Yeah, we are. We're starting with what's supposed to end the show. Like it's the pre-credits. I don't know. Opening credits, I guess. Yeah, I had a very weird day. It would have been a lot worse, but thankfully it was not. Good job to my PUD, even though I'm not too happy with my PUD at the moment, but that's fine.
With your what?
My PUD.
The hell's a PUD?
That's our power department here.
Okay,
locally.
I had no idea what that is, bro.
Yeah, it's called a PUD. So it's 10 o'clock Pacific. I'm like, all right, let's watch some football, right? Let's chill. Let's watch some football. I was going to hop on Discord with you guys a little bit. Have some breakfast, then hop on with you guys, watch some of the games and hang out and whatever. Then around maybe 10:15, 10:30, the power goes out. And I look outside my window. It's literally partly cloudy, mostly sunny, whatever you want to call it. It's completely fine. I'm like, what's going? What? No, first, obviously, you don't mess with a man's football on a Sunday. It causes problems. It causes problems. I was a mess all morning. It causes problems. You don't mess with a man's football, especially a PUD. That's where we have issues. But PUD can't mess with it. It's bad. Luckily, the Seahawks game was right now. Could you imagine if it wasn't? Imagine if it was a 10 o'clock start? Could you imagine? And by the way, it was pretty much only my surrounding area. And then, so I was texting with Shane, seeing what's going on with him, because he was in Eastern Washington hunting. So I think he got some duck today or something. I don't know, but good on him.
Sunbird. Yeah, he sent us a picture of some bird.
Some bird.
It couldn't have been the Ducks. The Ducks weren't out this weekend.
Jesus. No, so I'm just like, so I only have 5 gigs of data on my phone I think it's like per month on a prepaid, because I don't need more than 5 gigs, man. I'm at home. I don't need it. Okay. I really don't. I used all of it watching football. I literally used all of it. I was like, bro, come on. But come to find out around it came back around 12:20 Pacific or whatever. And we come to find out a little while later, and I was telling you guys this earlier in the day as well, that it was based off a vehicle accident. And I'm just like, that's not only probably extremely rare, but really bizarre.
Yeah, you know what my best guess is? Someone coming over hungover from their Halloween parties
at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah, you would still be hungover. Yeah.
On Sunday, that was a little bit odd, though.
Yeah.
If it were the first, I would understand it, but on the second, how long of a?
Oh no, yeah, people still partied last night. A lot of people in my area did.
Yeah,
still party. If it's Halloween weekend, you do.
Yeah, we're gonna party the whole weekend. No, so Shane was explaining to Brandon and I what this is, and I told Scoop this later on in the day, and I'll tell our audience. Basically, he's like, "Oh, vehicle accidents take forever to fix." Basically, someone crashed into the power pole and completely knocks it over. And so what happens is, with a wind outage, a branch just falls and whatever, they get it fixed, and it takes forever in our case, whatever. Basically, they have to put a new power pole on the ground because it's literally broken. They put a whole new one in, which takes forever. But at the same time, I'm like, that just feels so rare and weird. And then the other aspect of this is I've been searching all day in my local news to figure out if there's any reports of any accidents that cause power outages or whatever, because I imagine it would be on the local news. I have heard nothing all day. So I would like some clarification. Let's just put it that way.
And that's newsworthy, because even in our area, when stuff like that happens, you get maybe a 1 minute long clip of like
Yeah, or
himself and the
just
police
just
tape.
have
Yeah.
it on local news or something.
I don't know.
Like, I'm not seeing anything on my local news, so I'm like, what in the world is going on? And
Yeah,
I'm still
for real.
confused all these hours later. So that was my morning, and then something else also happened. Like right after the power came back on, one of our neighbors, excuse me, drinking Sprite again, like a nonce.
Oh,
Good choice.
Because I'm freaking burping on the show. This is so not professional. Anyway, and then so come to find out, well, a little while later after the power comes on, our neighbor knocks on our door. And my dad goes out to help our neighbor or whatever. Then he comes back and he goes, well, he was trying to fix something with his water pipe or whatever, like underneath his sink. And something happened, like the pipe burst or something, so his whole house was starting to flood. And so he was trying to shut the water. So our neighbor was trying to shut the water power off from our street for some reason, even though there's literally a valve in our garage, in the garage that you can turn the water faucet off. So that was my morning and early afternoon. And I'm still very confused at how all that just happened in a 3-hour period during football this morning.
and when exactly did the power come back on for you?
Like to put it in perspective, it was like late third quarter of the early window.
Oh my god! So that was about what? 2 hours?
2 hours, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Jesus.
So yeah, talk about an eventful early window.
Yeah, seriously, my goodness.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did watch football, but I was also frantically trying to run.
I was going to say, you probably had more entertainment from that than watching the fucking games.
I mean, I did watch the games, but I was also frantically going to my Starbucks and my local Safeway to figure out what the hell's going on with the Wi-Fi because I didn't want to be on data the whole time. Starbucks, the lights were off. Safeway, the lights were on, but their Wi-Fi was terrible. But I was like, what is happening? Safeway is like a Stop and Shop. It's like our local grocery store.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm like walking around while I'm watching 8 games on my phone, trying to walk around and get Wi-Fi this morning. just literally the dumbest early window you could ever imagine. So yeah, I don't think anyone in this show is going to have a more eventful Sunday than I just did.
Yeah, this season probably not. No.
Not even close. Where I literally want to open the show with it because it was that insane.
Unless we get 2 feet of snow and it knocks my power out, because that happens in Jersey. So.
I fully expect my power to get knocked out by some wind before the end of this season. I fully expect that. Also, before we move on to some actual sports, I wanted to look at my PUD outage map and see where we're at in terms of outages right now. Oh, we're at 85. We were at like 1,000, and we were at like almost 2,000 customers affected due to this vehicle thing.
Imagine being one of the 85 that still don't have it right now. So you've been struggling with it all day.
I'd be so fucking pissed. I'd be so fucking.
Wait, you guys would know this from watching the Eagles, but can you imagine just having your power get taken out based off a vehicle accident? You can't watch the Seahawks on national TV or your Eagles.
Why would we know that watching the Eagles? I'm confused.
No, I'm just saying. You would know because you would see it on your phone that it was a vehicle outage because I saw it, or a vehicle accident. That's what I saw. Like,
I thought you were saying that, like, for some reason that happens more during Eagles games. And
no. I'm just saying. Can you imagine not being able to watch your favorite team on primetime if you're a Seahawks fan here locally because of a vehicle accident?
I'd be so annoyed.
I'd be so pissed, man.
What's the longest, before we move on to actual football and stuff, what's the longest your power has been out?
Ever? 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, because mine was about a week and a half.
Yeah, mine
Once.
was like 2 weeks on the dot.
Yeah.
And I was a kid. You know what's funny? I bought Madden. This is great. So this was preseason, right? So who cares about football?
Yeah.
I bought Madden 16 off eBay for like $10 cheaper, and it came to my door like maybe the third or fourth day of the outage, and I didn't play it until like a week later.
And
Because
how
I
long
had my
was- how
power.
long was it?
Again, it was like 2015 because that was like right when Madden 16 came out.
Oh my god!
So it
we
was
have
like
a shared-
August.
We have a shared experience. I think that's exactly when my power went out for like a week and a half. So yeah,
I literally had the game in my possession in fucking wrapping paper and couldn't play it.
Oh my god!
God damn it!
I would have crashed the fuck out.
Yeah,
I was so bro. But honestly, this was my first experience having it taken out during an NFL Sunday. It's not fun. Don't mess with a man's football. Don't
True.
do it.
Moral
Don't
of the
do it.
story.
Don't do it.
Not the power
We become because men as a whole become evil people when you mess with their football. It's not okay.
Forget the people actually affected by the power outage going on and the things that could happen during that. No, it's about football. We are a football pod. You don't touch football with a power outage. Please don't.
But again, that's I hope everyone's okay if it was an actual vehicle outage or a vehicle accident. But my question is, I can't find anything on it.
Yeah, that's
It's
like
been 7 hours.
That's
I don't
wild.
get it.
I
I really don't get it.
That's just bad journalism because that's one of the things that's like it's the easiest thing to report on. That's the easiest thing you could possibly report on is a power outage.
You know what I think is funny? What if my local PUD told like local broadcasters or local news stations don't report on this because it will make people more upset when they're trying to watch football. What if that was their reasoning?
Oh my god!
Like I'm just trying to think of any.
I
possibility.
don't even know how to answer to that. How to respond to that.
I don't think that's going through their head. I'm pretty sure. If that was, I mean, that'd be funny if it was. Like, can you imagine the official statement?
There were 8 games of football on, so we didn't report on this,
Yeah.
even though it affected basically 2,000 people.
Oh man.
Jiminy Cricket.
I don't know.
So yeah, that was my morning. Just I don't understand. I'm still at a loss.
So, how much of the early window did you actually get to watch?
I watched everything.
Okay.
I watched everything and maybe listened to a little bit on the radio. But literally, of my 5 gigabytes of data, I have 750 millibytes left. I have nothing left, guys. Thanks to a power outage, I fucking wasted it. The only thing I didn't catch as much as I would like to, which we could start on, is that Lions-Vikings game. But to be honest, J.J. McCarthy played his best game as a pro.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can talk about this with a lot of teams, Brandon. It's another week of just awful defenses, and it starts with the Lions, honestly.
Yeah, it's the problem I have with watching the Lions. Every time they have a big divisional game that seems like they have to win, or if it's a big primetime game, it never quite feels like they show up. Like it never quite feels like they're playing their best football. And I mean, I know that defense is a little bit, banged up still and whatnot, but you're making J.J. McCarthy's coming back from injury, hasn't played in a long time at this point. It wasn't been 4 or 5 weeks, if not more. So you expect some rust from him. That Minnesota offense we saw with Carson Wentz wasn't that good. So with him, you're not expecting much. But then, and then Detroit comes out. They come out firing early. That first drive, you touchdown. You feel like Minnesota has no defense. And all of a sudden, it's like you blink after about 15 minutes, and the score's 14-7 Minnesota, and it feels like the Lions never recovered. And then it's just like, from that point on, I watch that Lions defense and I'm like, what do they do that shows me they're a true contender? Like offensively, they can score with the best of anybody, but like you're not going to play. You're not going to have a shootout type game in the playoffs. That's not how football works. So
now this is where we talked about this last week, Brandon. It's like the thing with the Lions, though, that's so fascinating is if there's any year where being an extremely good offense helps, it's a year like this where defensive top to bottom are so bad that is it really going to matter in the end? It should, but I'm not sure if it will. That's the thing.
It should, and the thing is, what do we always say every year? Like, the good teams, especially when it gets to playoff time, they kind of rise to the occasion, so the defenses do get better, even just no matter how bad they are. So you figure that'd be the same thing this year. But the biggest problem is just, I've had this problem with Detroit, not just for this year, but for a lot of years, where it's like they'll score 40 but give up 40. That's just how it feels when I'm watching them. And, I mean, this year, that's been true for a lot of teams. But I just think when you have playoff games where that true talent kind of just rises to the top, and those defenses get better, some of them get healthier. You're playing playoff competition every week for those 3-4 weeks, obviously between the wild card and Super Bowl. So it's not like you're playing the Texans every week, or you're playing Browns, or the Browns are a good defense, but not a good team overall. Playing the Jets. You're not playing teams like that. You're playing. You're playing a Lions team. You're playing the Eagles. You're playing the Bills. You're playing Denver, who has a good defense. You're playing a lot of those caliber teams. So really, that's why I'm like a little bit hesitant on Detroit. But I mean, that's right though. If there was a year where you can say that maybe they can overcome something like that, it's probably this year, because honestly, this almost feels like you're going to get, kind of like, I guess this almost feels like when it comes to the playoffs for me, when I look at all these teams so far through the first half of the season, it seems like that these playoff games coming down the stretch, like the bigger games, like, 6 weeks, 15, 16, 17 in the playoffs, you're going to end up probably seeing something like a Super Bowl 52, like the Eagles-Patriots one, where it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it just takes one defensive play to change that game, which it did. That seems like that's probably very possible this year, given how bad defenses across the league are.
Yeah. Scoop, what are your thoughts on the Lions? Are you having the same kind of concerns that Brandon's having? Are you still just really happy with where they are offensively, or how are you feeling at the moment?
I'm somewhere in between. I kind of echo with what both of y'all said. I mean, I don't know what at least Brandon said, but I think both of y'all did. Where I don't know if I have the same level of DEFCON 1 about the Lions defense as I would have if he weren't juxtaposed with so much other crap defense in general. It kind of feels like it's a league-wide almost tidal wave or culture shift, however you want to phrase it. It kind of feels like that's just how it is this year for whatever reason. It reminds me a little bit of 2019 in baseball, where just everybody and their mother was hitting 35 home runs. It kind of reminds me of the NBA for about 8 years, where similarly defense was just MIA and everything was a glorified 3-point contest on steroids. It kind of just feels like that's where we are in the NFL right now. And I don't know if it's by design. I don't know if it's because of the rule changes. I don't know if it's just because defense is, because we for a long time were spoiled with the likes of TJ Watt and Aaron Donald and whatnot, and we kind of just don't have those guys right now. I don't know if it's, and it could be a combination of multiple of those, but I don't know if it's concerning me as much. Like if we were to do one of those panic meters on just this specific situation, I don't know if it's, the 8 or 9 that it would be. It's probably more like a 5 or a 6 for me, because again, it's contextually in the relative scheme of what I'm seeing around the league. Now, if other teams get their shit together, but if other teams, and all that, and they start to stick out like a sore thumb again, then obviously that number starts to rise. But until then, I'm going to give them a little bit more padding than I otherwise would.
Yeah, and then to continue on that, the one defensive performance that was really great that we did see today, Scoop, was the Steelers having that
Yes.
impressive performance against the Colts, and
Yes.
there is some worry on the Colts, but again, an impressive defensive performance by the Steelers.
Well, are we going to talk about the Colts now, or are we kind of just mentioning that?
We could jump with this. Go just straight Steelers Colts. Just go right through that matchup.
Okay. You want me to? I'll start with that.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. So, kind of similarly to what I was saying before, as the Seahawks continue to put the hurt on the Commanders, kind of similar, or kind of what I was saying before, but from the other side of things, where there's no disputing it. The Colts did not have a good game today. Pretty much nothing. The 7-point differential at the end of the game just does not that it doesn't do justice. It does more than justice than it should to the Colts, because that did not at any point look like a 7-point game. And it kind of
it got to 7 points right at the end when it didn't really matter.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to how it was. The Super Bowl should have been 40-6, but it ended up 40-22. It kind of is a little bit similar there, where the score does more lends more credence to the losing team than it should, because this was not in any way a close game. It never looked like a close game. Even though the Colts had the time of possession, they had very little else. They fumbled the ball 4 times, lost 3 of them. They added on top of that 3 picks. Every time the ball was in the Colts' hands, you could argue that that if you were doing a top 5 game or player of the game for the Steelers, you could argue 3 of those guys were actually wearing Colts uniforms. And I don't think that, and again, people kind of are saying, well, we were waiting for the Colts to reveal themselves or to expose themselves as frauds or one thing or another. I'm not going to go that far on this team, because I think I saw plenty to like about them in the first 8 games.
Mm-hmm.
Every team, I don't care how good you are, every team's going to just completely have a shit game at some point. And this was that for them. I'm not surprised by it. They were in Pittsburgh. They were going up against a decent, a solid team, at least defensively. So I'm not surprised.
They finally showed up defensively, right? Because it's been bad for a while.
A team that, I'll put it this way, a team that has solid defensive players. They weren't playing as a solid defense, but they have solid defensive players, is the way that I'll phrase it.
Oh, yeah. And that's 100% the right way to phrase it. It's pretty much them in Cleveland that's like that at the moment.
Yeah, it's like they weren't playing cohesively as a unit by any stretch of the imagination, but they had the guys. And we saw those guys come together today. Now, does this suddenly make me, oh, shucks, have the Colts been pretenders this whole time? No, that's not how I feel about the Colts right now. I know some people are sounding the alarm after that game and saying that, when they finally played against a good team, I'm not there yet. Now, if they play 1 or 2 more good teams and the same thing happens over and over, obviously a pattern starts to get your attention. This is not a pattern at this point. It's not like the Buffalo Bills, where they've got a pattern of doing things like this, where, and not to give a stray to the Bills, but they entirely deserved it. And so, I just I'm sitting back and look at this and I'm saying, take it with a grain of salt. Every team, even the best teams, I mean, there's a reason why one team in history has gone 16-0, and no teams have gone 17-0.
Another atrocious PI by the Commanders. That is atrocious. Oh
I
my
don't have
God.
the game on. I'll be honest with you. I don't even have the game on.
That's atrocious. That's so bad. No, but anything else on that, Scoop? My bad.
Well, that's basically what I was just, is that if we see this 1 or 2 more times, then obviously my we'll go back to using the phrase panic meter is going to start to go up a little bit. But I have very little concern after this game. I don't think that this suddenly says, "Oh, Daniel Jones is a fraud." No, I don't feel that way at all. I think that sometimes it just it is what it is. I'll just say it. Shit happens, And And for it to take until week 9 for that to happen, I think, or week 10 even, yeah, it was a bad game, but chalk it up to a bad game and move forward. I don't think there's suddenly people trying to make the Colts out to be pretenders after what happened today. I think is unfair.
Yeah. The biggest thing, too, I mean, look, the turnovers are the main story, Brandon, but you've been sounding the alarm on this all year. I mean, I don't know how much Jonathan Taylor you can get when you turn the ball over that much, but, no Jonathan Taylor is an issue, and it was an issue today, although, I mean, slightlier than normal considering the turnovers. Did Brandon just cut out? Uh-oh.
I have no idea, boss. Oh, I imagine so because he just went black.
Yeah. I have no idea what happened there.
Me neither. But maybe this is an example of the. I mean, he was complaining about his computer earlier, so maybe that was a
maybe there's something there. No, but I think with Jonathan Taylor specifically, I mean that's a concern. But again, right now the turnovers are kind of the biggest thing.
Hang on, give me 1 second. I'm sorry, but there's somebody at the door, and I don't know why.
No worries. No, but I feel the same way as Scoop does with the Colts, right? Because there is, this concern about, where they could be, in the next few weeks. But as of right now, it should be okay. Brandon, are you good?
This is why.
Did we just have a false alarm?
This is why I need a new computer. This is why I was telling you guys this, because this computer is just crapping out left and right. Like, this is the second straight show, or now it would just crap out on me.
Scoop was just mentioning that. No, but Brandon, I was gonna ask you, and I'll continue. I mean, even though this was a turnover-based game, Jonathan Taylor, he didn't have a great day. I mean, it's not really a great example, but it is a concern.
This is, and now this is what? This is the second time they've lost a game where Jonathan Taylor hasn't had a great day. So pretty much that offense runs through him. It doesn't run through Daniel Jones or the weapons around it. It runs through Jonathan Taylor. And you saw that once they forced Daniel Jones to have to throw the ball, pretty much a lot in this game. I mean, Daniel Jones had the most. What was this? Is this the most? Yeah.
Fellas, I apologize. There's been an emergency downstairs. I'm going to have to disappear for a moment. I'll be back in a little bit.
All right, that's okay. Yeah. Hopefully everything's all right.
So, Daniel Jones had the most passing yards of his season so far in this game. He had 342, and a lot of that came later on when the game was over. There goes Sam Darnold's perfect passer rating.
Yeah. What a weird day. Scoop also has an emergency downstairs. What is happening?
I don't know. We literally just said that none of us were gonna have a crazy day like you did, and all of a sudden here he is. And then
what is happening?
It's
today's just been cursed. Today's just been cursed beyond belief. Absolutely cursed.
But, so, now that's a Minnesota Sam Darnold. That's a late season Minnesota. That's a Jets Minnesota. That's a Jets Sam Darnold throw right there.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the Colts, when I watch the Colts play, it's like Daniel Jones is playing complementary football to what the offense does and what they want to do and what Shane Steichen has, basically installed for them in that offense. But he's not the reason they've been winning games. Like, that's the best way. I mean, like, it's like today, when I want my quarterback to be good, but to be like a distributor, not to be the reason you win games. Because honestly, when your quarterback is the reason you're winning games, it's not a sustainable way of running an offense, especially in a team sport that's basically that you need the team to win.
Well, that's a perfect transition to Buffalo, because Buffalo didn't really do that today. But again, we only see that every so often in a season with Buffalo, and that's the concern with them. So that's a perfect segue into them and what they've done, and what they did against Kansas City today, I should say.
Because when you realize it, when you think about it so far, we've talked about kind of like the changing trends among pretty much the way kind of football is going, where how you have so many teams that have, or not so many, but you have teams that have a good running back, a good quarterback, a decent to good offensive line, good to decent weapons. That's how you build a championship team. Everybody has to kind of play their role. And we've said for years, Josh Allen cannot play superhero ball and win. It
And they
doesn't
didn't,
work.
and they didn't do that today. I mean, look, they lost by 7, or they won by 7, I should say. But I mean, it is Kansas City versus Buffalo. It's always
Yeah.
going to be one score. It's always going to be tight. It's always going to be crazy.
Yeah. But also,
yeah.
But Buffalo also controlled a lot of that time possession, I believe, in that game. So,
Yes.
like, because you know why? They finally realized that they have James Cook in the backfield. They finally gave him pretty much 25.
They finally gave him. Yeah, they finally gave
Yeah.
him the. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, we've been calling for that for the last 2 years. And then the first 9
again,
games of this,
that's my overall point. Is like we call for it, it happens once or twice a season, and then it doesn't happen again.
Yeah,
That's
like,
really the concern about where we're at with Buffalo.
but it's like, but you can't.
James Cook 27 for $114, 27 for 114.
Yeah, but then that takes the pressure off of Josh Allen because now the defense has to respect the run and respect the pass. So, like, you can't just have a quarterback. Like, this is what people don't realize about, like, saying, like, oh, a quarterback, has to throw for, 4,000, 5,000 yards and all these different things and be good. Like, Daniel Jones is good, but this is why I'm saying, like, Daniel Jones is not, like, to me, Daniel Jones is playing complementary football along with Jonathan Taylor, along with kind of what that offense is doing, the same way that, for a while it was Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Mahomes, and a good Chiefs defense playing in tandem with each other. Like that's how you have to.
And the offensive line was much better than it has been in recent years.
Exactly. So you had a lot of things to like there. You cannot, because look at what Cincinnati's going through. Joe Burrow's hurt. You know why he's hurt? No offensive line, and I mean, the play calling is also pretty bad, to be honest. I think so. Because I don't think Zach Taylor's a good head coach either. That's another problem that we can talk about. But like I said, he was on my Matt Canada list 2 seasons ago. He's going to go back on my coaching list again probably after this season.
On the bad coaching list? Are you prepping that as we speak? Are you beginning to think about it?
I'm thinking about it. And he's definitely on me. I've never liked him.
Do you have anything else on Buffalo, Kansas City, or the Colts game?
I just need. So Kansas City is currently out of playoff contention. They're
right at the bottom there. They're right at the bottom of the wild card spot. They're in, but barely right now.
Yeah. But I think what is it? If the season ended today, they'd be just out.
I think they're just in. I think they're 7th.
It's because I think I saw the. I don't know.
It's one or the other.
Yeah. I think NBC just said that right now, currently, they'd be just out, I think. I haven't checked.
I will double check right now.
Either
way, it's not looking good.
It's not looking good. I mean, what are they? They're now 4-5. So, you're below 500. You are now, what is that? a game and a half behind the Broncos.
Yeah, they're right outside the bubble. And so
Yeah.
the Chiefs are there, and who's ahead of them at 7? The Jaguars,
Oh.
who they lost to on Monday night. Could that rear its ugly head later in the year?
Because that's the tiebreaker. So if they both finish tied, Jags get in. So, but we've said this for the past 2 or 3 years, but now it's finally showing that the Chiefs are just not who. Like, everybody's like, oh yeah, they had a big game against the Raiders. I'm like, yeah, so could I. So could my local
Raiders.
Like, it's like that game showed me nothing, and it showed us nothing, quite frankly. But like Kansas City, but see, like the Bills finally got the best of Kansas City because the Bills finally did the things that we've been calling for them to do for the last 2 or 3 seasons. They finally did it. Now, can they continue to do it? That's another story. I don't think they can because they're not smart enough to. But can they do it? They showed they can do it tonight. So that was encouraging from the Bills. That was a game that we said, hey, if the Bills are going to get back on track and kind of, lower that panic meter at least by 1 or 2 notches, this would be the game to do it. This finally showed me that, hey, there's a chance there. But I look at that, like, the best teams in the league right now are the ones that play complementary football in all phases of the game. So that's Philly, that's the Broncos. Well, partially the Broncos because the Broncos offense is still inconsistent, but but that's Philly, the Broncos, the Bills today.
Scoop, is everything okay? Was everything good?
I'll explain to you guys what happened off of there.
Okay, because we were just saying this day could only get crazier and weirder.
Yeah, I'll explain it to you off of air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while you were gone, we were just talking about the Bills, and I know you haven't been happy with the Bills scoop as a whole, but
No.
I mean, we saw the positives of James Cook, helping lead this offense, but that consistency we're not sure is going to be there the rest of the year.
No, and that's the thing is, I mean, of everything you've heard me knock the Bills for, James Cook has not been one of them. My ability or my ability to trust them to properly utilize James Cook and to properly let James Cook has not been that's been one of the areas where I've bonked him this year. And we saw it today where let's be honest, Mahomes had a bad game today. He had a bad game. And it doesn't matter whether you were doing it off of advanced metrics, off of basic stats, off of what you're the so-called eye test, which I think is flawed beyond words, but any of that, it doesn't matter what it was. He had a bad game from all objective vantage points. Josh Allen only failed to complete 3 passes, so it was no contest as to who the better quarterback was today. But on the flip side, or not on the flip side, but juxtaposed with that, Allen was also only asked to throw the ball 26 times. In fact, James Cook ran the ball more than Josh Allen passed it.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh Allen only ran the ball 6 times, as opposed to, and 2 of those were for tutties. So you had all those things as factors. You had 2 regular targets today, one in being Shakir and one in being Kincaid, and then you had a bunch of guys, kind of getting the ball peppered around the offense as well. So oh my goodness.
All right, continue, Scoop.
Okay, sorry. But in any event, my point being that this was a much more complete offense today. But even so, toward the end, in a couple different moments, it still was not as buttoned up as you would need it to be. This game, my point in saying how good Allen was statistically and how bad Mahomes was statistically is to say that a game like that in Buffalo, nonetheless, should not be as close as it was at the very end. It shouldn't be. And the fact that they couldn't put Kansas City away sooner when the quarterback mismatch was that significant, because Josh Allen very rarely plays that well and that mistake free. Pat Mahomes.
Do you think part of it is that it's just how those games are normally, or?
Well, the point that I was trying to make is, so as I was saying, Josh Allen very rarely plays that well and that mistake free. On the flip side, Pat Mahomes very rarely plays that poorly and makes that many mistakes. So when you've got those 2 things juxtaposed in your home field, home turf, whatever you want to say, all those factors coming together, and your offense is playing that well complementary football, you should have put these guys away in the 3rd freaking quarter.
Well, also keep in mind the other piece of this is that Buffalo's defense is terrible. It's really bad.
Yeah, no, I'm not putting it all at the feet of Josh Allen by any stretch. I'm not in any. I mean, I'm actively saying that Josh Allen played very well today, and that offense played very well today. But this is my point with Buffalo, is that even when you find it's like the game of whack-a-mole. You get one thing in the ground, and something else is popping up. Its head up somewhere else, and it's something where, and this is why I struggle so much to take Buffalo seriously, because it's they always have something that's, as soon as everything goes exactly as they need it to in one facet of the game, it gets neutralized by a problem that rears its ugly head elsewhere. And again, when you see when you see Pat Mahomes, again, this is about as badly as Pat Mahomes has played since the Super Bowl, and I would argue perhaps even before that. So when you've got that going on, even if your defense is bad, or even if your defense is below average at least, that is not a game that should come down to the final couple minutes.
Well,
And-
I think and part of it too, that 4th and 17 was awful
Yeah.
by Buffalo. That was awful.
Yes, it was. There's I don't care if you're going up against Montana and Rice. That is not something that you should allow that seamlessly. No pun intended. But again, my point just being that you can't have a quarterback mismatch go that much in your favor on your home field for that much of the game. And again, I don't care how bad your defense is. We've openly been talking. We started the show talking about how irrelevant defenses have looked this year, or how much they have seemed to become a mitigated factor in team success or lack thereof. So in that environment, even more so, you're telling me that you can't put this team on ice any earlier than you did? Yes, it was a victory. But if someone's telling me that this was a convincing victory, or if someone's telling me that this is a victory that makes them feel better about Buffalo, they are grasping at so many straws that I think that the local Dollar Tree is going to run out of them. Because I don't understand. How what is it going to take for people to understand that this just because Josh Allen can finally put it all together. He finally put it all together today in one of his best games in not just this year but in recent memory. And you win by 7 when the opposing quarterback when the opposing quarterback couldn't look more like Greg McElroy if he tried.
Well, here's the thing. Oh, Jesus. And also, Brandon sent in our chat someone called the Anaheim Ducks the Dicks instead of the Ducks.
Yeah, that's a local Devils beat reporter. That's Ryan.
That's the local. What the hell?
Ryan Novozinski. Okay, stop giving Ryan's a bad name, bro.
Devils fall to the Dicks 4-1. Like, what are we doing here?
You gotta proofread the tweets before you send them. You gotta proofread it.
No, okay. So Scoop, I'm gonna push back in a couple ways here. One is I don't think. Let's put it this way. I don't think Buffalo's going to have a convincing win against a top team in the AFC this year. I really don't.
Yeah.
And that's part of where I agree with you. I think the reason is like for how good Josh Allen is, and we'll talk about this in perspective with the Bengals, which is probably the perfect example of this. Just like defensively, they're just so bad. Again, yes, we're saying defensively they're bad, but I'll be honest, I think it's bottom 10 bad,
like
bottom 5 bad. Like it's that bad.
The Bills gave up 21 points without
4th and 17. 4th and 17.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They gave up 21 points and 4th and 17 without Mahomes throwing a single touchdown pass. That's pathetic. That's bad.
That's not pushing back. That's adding to what I was saying.
That's what I'm saying.
The thing is, this offense, if we get more weeks of Josh Allen being Superman, then yeah. And I assume we will as soon as next Sunday or whenever the Bills play next. But it's like this defense is going to be so rough that they're not going to – it's going to be tough. And that's kind of – again, I don't think – yeah, you're right. I don't think it's fully pushing back. But the thing is, this is the perfect game. If they do this against good NFL teams, this is as best as they're going to win. They're going to win by 7. They're going to win by 10. They're not going to win by more. They're just not.
No. I apologize. This is related to what happened.
Yeah, you're good. But that's the thing though.
But what we're saying here too is and what I told you before we came on tonight was, look at what the Chiefs have coming up. Not Chiefs. Look at what the Bills have coming up in terms of tough, quote unquote, tough games. I mean, you have the Bucks in 2 weeks, the Steelers at the end of this month. You've got the Bengals, who offensively are no pushover. I guess, so that's gonna be the battle of two defenses. That could be a shootout game with two bad units.
Wait,
You've
who
got
was that matchup again?
Bengals.
Oh Jesus! Oh
That's a bad.
Christ!
That's a battle of two crap defenses.
What is that game
So
going to end 56-50?
probably, and Joe Flacco will still lose. But so that game's not technically that easy. Then you play the Patriots in New England, and the Patriots have beaten you already this year. Uh, you play the Browns, which is a good defense, even though they're not a good offense, they're a good defense. You play Philly a few days after Christmas, and then the last game is against the Jets, and it's the last game that last season, but that's whatever. But the Eagles game is not easy. The Browns game is not easy because you're going against a really good, the top 5 pretty much defense, top 10 defense at least. Patriots game.
I think it's the best in the league. I would argue.
Is it actually? I don't know the.
I don't know statistically, but I would argue it is because if you watch the Browns, they're like far and away better than anybody in the league right now.
Like these games are not easy, even though the opponents on the surface might seem like they're going to lose to the Bills. These aren't shoe-in W's for the Bills. This is the Eagles. This is the Browns defense. This is the Patriots who beat you already, who's winning that division right now. This is the Bengals, whose offense is literally running through defenses like crazy. The problem is their defense can't stop anything. But still, if they get one defensive stop, they're they can win a game and score 45 points. You've got the Steelers, who played really well against the Colts today. So if they keep that up, that's going to be a big game coming up. That game's in Pittsburgh, by the way, and it's the late window. It's the 4:30 games. You have a primetime game against Houston. Houston's not good, but Houston, it's just depends. I think CJ Stroud probably. I don't know what's gonna happen with CJ Stroud, but that's whatever. But then the Buccaneers game, not easy, and the Dolphins game's a division matchup. Those are tricky. That's a trap game. So
yeah.
The Bills don't really have it that easy in their last 8-9 games. They play at least 4 good teams, and then they play in total probably at least 6 decent defenses. So that's not an easy stretch for them to manage. And I mean, let's see here. They've got it's a road game next week, then a home game, then a road game, then a road game, then a home game, then a road game, then another road. They play most of their remaining games right up until Christmas. Most of their games are on the road coming up here. Because let's see. They have how many games left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they have 9 games left. Of those 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are on the road.
Damn.
So
yeah,
that's not easy at all, including 3 out of 4 games on the road between November 20th and December 21st. So actually, wait, I'm mistaken. 4 out of 5, not 3 out of 4. 4 out of 5 of those games are on the road in that time. So they do not have an easy schedule coming down the pipeline here. And they need to play. They can't ask Josh Allen to play hero ball. It just won't work. So, I want to think that this is the kind of the game where the Bills show me something, and they did show me a little something today. But I'm not sitting here saying that they beat the 2025 version of the Chiefs and saying that that's a major win for them. It's a good win, but it's not. This isn't the Super Bowl champion Chiefs. This is the 2025 Chiefs. Yeah. So it's a good win. It's a good first step to get back to where people thought you were the first month of the season. But you need to, going forward, prove to people that you can win more than just by 7 playing like Scoop's saying, but playing that kind of football. You need to be a little bit better, defensively for sure, and offensively you should put up maybe a little bit more, but we'll see how it goes. But schedule's not easy. That's a good first step, but I'm not quite bringing down that panic meter on them yet. That's not there.
No.
Scoop, I'm not bringing it down at all.
Scoop, do you have anything on the Chiefs before we move on to another game here?
Again, it kind of goes back to we talk about did we really learn anything about this team today? And you know, I guess we learned that Mahomes is human. I don't really know what I really learned, quote unquote. It was it came down to, it was just one of the few grudge matches that these teams have had that went in Buffalo's favor. I still think they're much closer to who they have been the last few weeks than who they were the first few weeks. But I mean, I guess this is just another reminder of the fact that they are still much more vulnerable than they were, 2-3 years ago. And that they are, that there's room for them to still be very good to great, but not be the level that they were when they were winning championships, if that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. And speaking of bad defenses, let's talk about the golden child of bad defenses, your Cincinnati Bengals.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
Well, they're 32nd in defense.
Yeah.
I'm just going to quickly say, because I don't think it's in here. Jamar Chase basically said one effing stop, screamed it, walking to the locker room. Here were some other Bengals players, including Chase Brown, talking about how bad they were defensively today. The offensive players calling out the Cincinnati defense. Let's see if I can get this to work here.
We put the ball in the end. Like a minute of game time. In the fourth quarter, you score 2 touchdowns in like a minute of game time. What goes through your mind when you score that second touchdown and take the lead? Defense get a stop. We just got to play complementary football. Like, we put the ball in the end zone and go up a point at the end, finish the game. Like, just end it. I need leaders on the arm.
Yeah, so that was Jamar Chase and Chase Brown. Chase Brown being the most emphatic, essentially, in the presser, just saying finish the effing game, which is 100% correct, Scoop. I mean, come on, you got to finish the game, and that final play was just atrocious by the Bengals defense. But you can't expect to win football games, especially again, their offense has scored 38 plus points in 2 games, and they've lost. Like, that's just unacceptable.
No, absolutely, and it's especially when you've got again. This is now, I think, a Bengals team that's looked at differently than they were looked at a couple of weeks ago. This is a Bengals team that isn't looked at as being patsies, as being pushovers. Are they what they were with Joe Burrow? Of course not. But after some of what we've seen with Joe Flacco and the fact that he maybe has a little more juice in the tank or whatever you want to say, this is a team that I think that at least is expected to be a little bit more, I won't say legitimate, but at least a little bit more competent,
competitive, I would say.
Competitive, competent, whatever. And it can't be it can't be that you're playing that just passively is the only thing I can think of to say, where it's one thing to play, it's one thing to just be out talented, if that's even a word. It's one thing to be out skilled. It's one thing to be out whatever. You can't be outworked. You can't be out. You can't be out hustled. And that just seemed like what we saw today with the Bengals. And it's that's just or out hearted, whatever you want to call it. And it just felt like the will to win on the offensive side just seemed to go circles around the defensive side. And it's I'm not and I'm pretty neutral when it comes to the Bengals, but that annoys me. I don't care who it is, that annoys me when I see that. And it just, because there are players on either the P squad or in the CFL or in the UFL, whatever, there are players that have been working their ass off to take one of those spots. And you're basically there dicking around with one of those spots. And so that's something I think that's really, difficult to, whoops, there's the requisite one time of show that I punched my laptop for no reason. Even though that's not what I actually did. But anyway.
We should do a Scoop laptop punch segment. What teams made Scoop punch's laptop the most? Number 1, Buffalo.
Yeah, but anyway, so I don't want to spend too much time on them because, quite frankly, You know, I just this reminded me of when you had me watch the CFL the other day, when you had me watch the BC Lions game and said there's going to be no defense in this game.
It was crazy. There was no defense at all.
That's kind of what it reminded me of. I think it was 89 points combined between these two teams, which I'm sorry, in a Joe Flacco 2025 and Caleb Williams quarterback game, like how the hell do you allow 89 combined points defending Joe Flacco and Caleb Williams? How the hell does that even happen? The three of us could have been in one of those two backfields and probably given them a freaking better run for their money. And I can't even run, unless I'm on my mobility scooter. But I just don't. So I don't know what really to even say beyond that, because it all of that is speaking for itself. You know, excuse me, sorry. And the fact that how many do you guys know offhand how many different players attempted a pass for the Bears today?
Oh my God, it's probably like, 3 or 4.
What do you mean attempted a pass?
Four
of them? Oh yeah, that's right, because they had some trick plays.
DJ Moore attempted a pass, Cole Kmet attempted a pass, and Tyson Bajant. I think I'm saying that.
Bajan.
Bajan. Oh yeah, there goes my
the other piece with Chicago is Kyle Monangai was really good. Props to you, fantasy manager.
Yeah, that was the next thing I was going to say is Monangai really Miles outshined Chase Brown on the running game. He had and it wasn't just one rush that kind of ran up. We see this sometimes where one rush will kind of run up your yards. Again, no pun intended. That wasn't the case with him. His longest run was only 39 yards, and I say only because he ran for 176.
So good. So good.
Much respect to him. Excuse me, sorry. The Bears had four passing touchdowns, and one of them was caught by freaking Caleb Williams.
That's awesome. Brandon, we can talk about the final play. I mean, it's still going to be a game of the year contender. We'll see how it ranks for us at the end of the season, but that gets slotted into one of our nominees at least 9 weeks into the year. That final play pissed you off more than honestly. It probably pissed you off more than your Eagles offense. That's our Eagles mention today.
Yeah, I was wondering where the Eagles mention was going to come from, and it ended up coming from the one.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I've forgotten Kevin Patullo's name like most of the day. I can't even think about him today.
If there's one thing I think I hate more than what we do in Philly in terms of just inconsistent play calling, at best, is just bad.
It's not tackling. Not tackling. I knew you were going there.
Because it's not even in this Bengals game. Like, I watched, like, I believe it was, even in college football, like, there was one team there was one guy, I forget, a safety that I saw the other, yesterday that was playing. And he's supposedly like one of the best tacklers in the country, but for the last 2 weeks, like, he's missed just a ton of tackles. I think, like, and yesterday alone, I think they were counting how many missed tackles he had, like, in the first half alone, and it was like 20. Like, it's like just these guys. Like, tackling is something you learn at the Pee Wee level. You learn how to wrap up and finish a play. I don't understand why, as these guys get to higher and higher levels, the tackling actually gets worse and worse. I don't understand that. Like, it's like, and then today you see what happens with the Bengals. Colston Loveland catches that pass. If you tackle him, that Bears offense has to run a long way just to spike that ball. Like, we don't even know if they would get it off in time to spike and be able to keep the game moving. But yeah, at the very bare minimum, you have to make that tackle.
There's three guys there to make the tackle.
Like there were literally, I think, two guys who actually had him in their grip. Two guys, not one. Two guys had him in their grip, and you don't bring him down. How is that possible? Like, I don't understand. You cannot be a professional football player. You can't be a pro at any level if you cannot do the most simple things correctly. Like, it's just infuriating to me when I see piss poor just play on a level where these guys make more, thank God, in terms of money. They make so much an insane amount of money to play a children's game that they suck at. I can't stand it because I'm like, listen, I'm not saying that we could do better, but when you are a professional, you're expected to do your job. This is like it's like if we walked into our jobs and didn't do our job over and over again, we'd be fired. These guys, they could do their job. They could not do their job over and over and over again and still make millions of dollars throughout a season. Their game checks are worth more than some people's yearly salary. And you can't make a goddamn tackle? You can't make a tackle? But you need two guys wrapping up a tight end. You can't make a tackle. Are you serious? Like
the last play of the game.
Like, does anyone understand how stupid that is? That you cannot tackle at this level, especially when there's two guys trying to tackle one guy in the open field. Who, mind you, it's not even like it was like a guy that was plowing through two defenders. He had to go up and catch that ball, come down, turn around, and run to the end zone. And two guys still couldn't tackle him when he was up in the air trying to catch that ball. Are you kidding me? Like it blows my mind when I see bad tackling, and it's like, you know what's funny? It's never like in between the trenches that I see bad tackling. It's always open field. Now I get it. Open field is hard because it is, especially when there's a lot of shifty guys, a lot of fast guys in this league. But Austin Loving is a tight end. He's a tight end. He doesn't move fast. That position doesn't move fast. You have two guys, two DBs who are faster than him. You have to make that tackle. There's no excuse. Like, it's so bad when I see, like, you know, this is my problem when I watch, you know, so many bad DBs. Like, Darius Slay was never a good tackler. Never was. But, like, you know, every now and then he can make a play. And it'd be, you know, it matters. But, like, the Bengals secondary, and this is why we're talking about the Bengals, that defense, I've never seen it, like, at this level, in the NFL. I've never seen a defense that is clearly probably the worst in NFL history at tackling, at finishing plays, at getting turnovers. I've never seen it. They don't do anything well. Honestly, don't trade Hendrickson. I'm asking them. I leave. Trey Hendrickson needs to leave because he's just gonna rot there forever. Just like Max Crosby with the Raiders and how much they suck. Like, these guys need to go somewhere where they're actually gonna have a chance to win and not waste their career because they've already got the money. It's not about the money at this point. It needs to be about winning, and you're not going to win in those kind of franchises that don't preach the fundamentals, that don't work on the fundamentals in practice, that don't, you know, that don't put up their players' ass because they're too scared to. Like, I'm so fed up with you know. Listen, I'm all for players kind of, you know, getting whatever money is owed to them or whatever, especially when they're a great top 5, top 10 player in this league. But you are still, like, as the coaches of this team, like, you need to tell your players when they are not doing their job. You need to basically, like, if I was coach, like, if I'm Zach Taylor, because I think Zach Taylor was a pushover. If I'm Zach Taylor, I'm making those guys do freaking sprints the entire practice. First practice, you are sprinting. I don't care if you throw up. You are sprinting until you can't physically stand anymore because this is ridiculous.
Scoop didn't ever see that coming.
I'm so done. I'm just so done with poor football. And the thing is that's been this whole year so far. It's poor football this whole season, and it's not changing. That's why I'm getting so angry because I'm just like, when does it get better? What, like, these guys are making millions. When does the product actually get better in this league? Because I have not seen it yet.
All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being most likely, Scoop, do you think Zach Taylor gets fired this offseason?
Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being most likely?
Yes.
I'm going to say a 3.
Okay.
And I'll say it for 3 reasons. 1, injuries. 2, Joe Burrow, which I know kind of ties into injuries, but, you know. And 3,
he deserves his own spot.
Yeah. And 3, cheap asshole owner. You know, it's. I mean, they hung on to Marvin Lewis for what was it, 15 years or
long
close
time.
to that. they're not going to move off of Zach Taylor, who brought them to a Super Bowl 3 or 4 years ago. It ain't going to happen. I mean, Zach Taylor would have to sleep with somebody's wife in order to make that happen.
Brandon, for as much as you want it, do you think it's likely?
For as much as I would love to see Zach Taylor get canned, because I think he's an awful coach. There's a reason why he was on my Matt Canada list. Was it 2 seasons ago? And I had him up high on that list. I still, I'm with Scoop. I don't think there's any way they get rid of him, because honestly, I mean, it starts from the top down. It's the same things of why I don't like, I didn't like the managers in the World Series this year, because I thought they were both idiots. It's the same reason why, I don't like, it's the same reason why I criticize Aaron Boone's managerial decisions, but really it starts at the top, like Scoop is saying. We all know the Bengals have problems from the ownership on down. Cheap ownership, like he's saying, bad front office. You couldn't even, look at freaking Shamar Stewart. You didn't even want to pay him. What was it? Was it Shamar Stewart? I believe.
Yeah.
Shamar Stewart. Yeah.
He's a first-round pick, and you didn't even want to pay him. He's a first-round pick. You have to.
Also, a lot of the contract stipulations were really stupid. So that was part of the issue there.
It doesn't make sense as to what the Bengals are trying to accomplish year in and year out by not putting an offensive line around Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow gets hurt for the 75th time, and then we're sitting here saying, "Oh, Bengals season's over again." Yeah, because they keep the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over
and over again, expecting different results.
Thank you. So that's what the Bengals are. They are quite literally insanity. So it's like, listen, Zach Taylor is one of the problems, and I believe he's a big one, but he's not the biggest one. So if I had to put it on a scale, I think it's, for me, I would have him at a 5, but
I'm right in the middle. I'm going a 4. So we're all in lockstep there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else on that?
And just for this game, as we're watching this game right now, at what point do you take Jaden Daniels out and say it's not worth it? You're down by 31 with 10 minutes left. At what point do you say it's not?
This game's been over.
I can't believe they haven't done it already. To be honest with you.
At what point do you say enough's enough? Because God forbid this guy takes a bad hit, and then it's all. And then
he just came back from a freaking injury.
He just came back from a hamstring. So yeah. Okay. Teams I'm out on in the NFL. I'm done. You're done.
That's a long list.
They're officially done in my book. They might have already been on the list before, but I'm just gonna confirm put them on. LA Chargers. That first half was atrocious. Goodbye. It was against the Titans, for God's sake. Denver Broncos. You can't do anything against Davis Mills? Okay, guys.
They won, but that game was very concerning for me because they did not look good at any point in that game offensively. Defensively, they were fine. Offensively, you gotta have both things working if you want to win a Super Bowl. You gotta have some sort of offense and you gotta have a defense, and they really haven't had an offense all year.
Yeah, so, defensively they're solid, but come on, it's Davis Mills. They should have won by a lot more when Davis Mills came in. And then put the panic meter to 11 for your Green Bay Packers. Oh my God. Oh my God. How do you lose with those? I'm smacking my water bottle. Smacking it.
And now,
how do you lose in those jerseys? Jerseys are fire. You smack it.
And now with Tucker Kraft done for the year, most likely because they have to do official analysis, but it's sounding like a torn ACL.
It's an ACL, yeah.
So now with him out, and your offense has mainly relied on him this season so far. Now I'm at you can be at an 11. I'm at a 10 just because the rest of the NFC has not been good this year, but I'm at a 10. I'm there.
Yeah. What about the Chargers? Brandon, anything on the Chargers?
They're another team where their record doesn't show how bad they are. Doesn't show what they really are. The Chargers are a 3-6 team in a 6-3 disguise. So,
guys, Jaden Daniels got hurt again.
Are you kidding?
Kill me! Is that him?
Just said that.
Is that him? Is that him? Or am I mixing up the numbers?
Well,
I think
number
that's him.
5.
Yeah, that's him. Oh my God, man.
This is why
It's
I
his
said
leg.
why.
It's his leg. It's his leg again.
Oh, I rolled
On
up
this
on him.
turf.
Oh
Because
my god,
Northwest
man.
Field is. Oh
That
my God.
I don't care how well he's done. That's a fireable offense by Daniel.
Did I not just say it 2 seconds ago?
Oh my God. I mean, Northwest Field is one of the worst turfs ever, but still, why are you putting. Oh my God, guys. That might be an Achilles and ACL. Well, I don't think it's an ACL, but that's out for the year, guys. That looks like out for the year.
That's a fireable offense. I'm sorry.
Oh my, dude, the game's
The
over.
game is over. You should have pulled him after like midway, like by the end of the third quarter. They should have been out of this
We're
game.
getting
There's
robbed
no-
of seeing one of the best young players in the NFL for the rest of the year, probably, guys.
See
Maybe.
what did I say? What did I just get done saying?
Oh my God.
Saying he's one bad hit away. He's one bad tackle. Oh my god!
Oh, come on, man.
Dumbasses.
Oh, it's so bad. Oh my God, God, that's so bad.
That is quite literally beyond a fireable offense. That you were still playing your
Scoop is
starter.
100% right.
Like
Thank you.
God, man.
But when you're down by 31, there's no, especially in the fourth quarter, there's no way you come back. It's not possible to come back.
It's
Unless you
massively
have-
unlikely. Let's put it that way.
Listen, of course we don't like Washington because it's the NFC East, but
I don't give a shit. I may not like Washington, but Jaden Daniels doesn't deserve that.
That's exactly where I was going. He does not deserve that. And we said literally a minute and a half ago to pull the starters before something like this happened. We said this. Oh my god, man. Like
God damn it, man.
The game is lost. You are down by 31, 10 minutes to go in the fourth. You have nothing to play for. Remember, I said when this game started to get out of hand early on by halftime, I said at what point in this season do you pull Jaden Daniels out and say enough's enough because your season's over? Now it really is over. So like,
I thought that was
as bad as we thought.
I thought that was a little bit of a stretch, but I mean, life comes at you fast, evidently.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
God, man. Oh my god. Left arm and elbow injury. Cast already out. So that's at least somewhat promising. I thought it was his leg.
But
that's still bad.
It's still going to put him out for what, the minimum of like 2 weeks, probably.
Maybe more. Look at the cast. The cast is huge.
Oh, Jesus.
Thank God. I thought it was his leg. Thank God it wasn't his leg.
It looked like it bent back weird. That's why I was like...
Thank God it's his arm. That's thank God. But, oh my God, why are you clicking? So now it's another 3 weeks. Goodbye, Washington.
So, yeah. So here's the problem.
Continue on the Chargers. That's so awful.
Like... and this is already his third major injury this season.
This season.
So, honestly, if you're like, this is why I was saying Washington was already done in this game, but it's whatever. With the Chargers, I mean, every week at this point, I don't care what that record says. They're a 6-3 team, but they are really 3-6. They don't do anything particularly well. Justin Herbert's still, I hate to say it. Like I said, everybody knows my history with Justin Herbert, but he's a fraud. That team is fraudulent. That team is very fraudulent. They have, like I said, they have players I like, and that's kind of what's keeping them around in games and why they're winning games and why they still have a 6-3 record. But like if push came to shove and they get to the playoffs, they're immediately gone in the first round. That's a wild card exit. Like that, if they even have to play a wild card game, depending on where they fall in the standings. I mean, they're not going to finish as number one, so they're going to have to play a wild card game. So that's going to be it. But the Chargers, I'm completely done with them too. So that's where that is.
All right, Scoop. Chargers, Broncos, and especially the Packers. What are your thoughts on those three combined? Are you also out on all three of them?
I mean, okay, I'll put it this way. I'm least out on the Packers. I'll put it that way. Now, we just saw them lose Tucker Kraft today, so 1 or 2 weeks could very easily change that, but I'm least out on them as of right now. I also trust, it's going to sound crazy, but I trust LaFleur and Love as a QB coach combo more than I trust either of the other two. So
that's not crazy. I think that's completely fair at this point.
So those are the reasons why I'm least out on the Packers. Between the Chargers and the Broncos, I'm probably, and again, similarly, maybe just because I trust Bo Nix more than I trust Justin Herbert, and I also trust the Broncos defense more than I trust the Chargers defense. And we just had more reports today about Joe Alt being even more banged up than we realized.
Yeah, he got hurt today too.
Right. So I would put my, I'm least out on the Packers, then goes the Broncos, then goes the Chargers. I don't expect the Chargers to be. I think at most they're a playoff appearance, but they're kind of they're a participation trophy team at best. They're a hey, thanks for the invite, but you're going to be standing room only. So
standing room only, I love it.
So that's basically how I see the Chargers. The Broncos, I've seen different things about them that I like at different times. They're kind of what I talked about earlier with another team that is escaping me right now, but they just need to, I think it was the Steelers, where they just need to put it all together simultaneously. I've seen things to like about their defense at times. I've seen things to like about Knicks at times. I've seen it, just put it all together for 2 damn weeks, please. But again, and I've seen it against good teams. I mean, shit, we saw it against Philadelphia at one point. So I still have reasons to believe in the Broncos, just not as much, in my opinion, as I have to believe in the Packers, but more than I have to believe against or believe in the Chargers. And believing in the Chargers is a fool's errand anyway.
Yeah. All right, boys, it's time to party with Cardi. The Patriots,
sweet Lord,
pick up a win with Cardi B in attendance. A 1 point win. The picture of Robert Kraft with Cardi B is one of the best pictures of the season. So good. But even with that party with Cardi, Atlanta. Scoop, what is Atlanta?
You asked me that same damn question last week, and what did I say? Atlanta. That's literally the only way. You asked me that same damn question a week ago. They are like what they are. That's the only way that I can describe it. This is a team that we've seen beat teams they should have never had any interest even being in those games late. And then we saw them get steamrolled by some of the teams that they should have been able to have at least leverage over by halftime. And oh God, I'm afraid to ask.
The picture of what happened to Jaden Daniels is gruesome.
Okay, I don't even want to see it.
Can we put it in the chat? I don't even want to see it.
No, I'll DM you it, Rob.
Yeah, DM it to him.
Did he straight up broke his arm? Oh, Adam put it in here already.
Oh my God, man!
I'm gonna look at this.
Oh! Yeah, wait, look. I'm gonna send you the actual still frame of it. This is the still
my God! Oh dear. Yeah. Adam, thank you for that.
Yeah, look at the still frame.
Dude, his arm is like this as it goes down to the ground.
It's completely 360.
Yeah, his arm is like 360. Like I don't even think I'm getting in frame here, but his arm is like completely.
Then his season's over.
Dude, that's not only a broken arm. Oh my God. I'm gonna put in the main chat, Scoop. I'm sorry. Oh Jesus.
No, I'm just gonna hope I don't scroll through it because I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Why was he still in the game?
This is what we're saying. There was no reason for this. None.
Oh my God, man. Oh my God. Oh, that's so awful. Oh yeah, that's out for the year. He literally just broke his entire arm. My God.
But the thing is, that's not the first time. Like, I saw somebody put it on Twitter, and they said that the way that this season's gone for Jaden Daniels is exactly what they did to RG3.
Yep, I literally, as soon as you finished talking, that's where I was going to go.
And you know what's funny? When Jaden Daniels got drafted, I said Washington is not the place for a quarterback like this that's likes to be mobile and has a good arm. Because
I just thank God it wasn't his leg like RG3. I just thank God it hasn't been his leg.
But technically it has. He had a hamstring. Then it was his knee.
Thank God it's not an ACL. That's, I guess, my point.
Thank God, man. Oh my God. Like, it's like, why does Washington keep doing this with their players? If the game is over, like RG3 is one thing, but still, that was poor injury management. That was a problem.
I just saw, like, Drew Lock has been in the game for 2 minutes already. The game is done. It
was 38-7 at the end of the third quarter. All the starters would have been pulled off the field immediately if I was Washington. You can't win that game at that point. There's no way you can. There's no physical way you can win that game.
All right.
The third quarter.
It's just awful. Scoop, are you worried about the Patriots?
Not really, and here's the reason I'll say that. They surprised me so much earlier in the season that I think I'm willing to be more cautious, or not cautious, more cautiously optimistic with them than I would have been. Had I not been so heavily surprised by what they were doing, maybe I would have felt differently. But with what I was seeing from not only Drake May, but the players around him, and with, it was clear that from a very early moment, coach,
Rabel.
Thank you.
Rabel? Yeah.
Sorry.
We've lost it today. We've had a weird day.
Well, you know how I am with names in general, but with all those things coming together, I'm again willing to have more, like you said, more rope with them.
Yeah,
than I maybe
more leniency. Absolutely.
Yeah, than I maybe otherwise would. But again, the seasons go by quickly, so that only can last for so long.
Yeah. Brandon, your concern, is it a little bit higher in some respects, or are you kind of in lockstep with Scoop?
See, when it comes to the Pats, like, my concern, I guess, is more just, it's more like philosophical. It's not like something that's actually like a physical, actual concern with the team. Because I think their defense is good. I think Drake May is playing like an MVP, because he is. When I look at how the Patriots are playing, it's just
wait. Ian Rappaport just tweeted. Was this Ian Rappaport? I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Before you go even deeper on that, did Ian Rappaport say the score and the circumstances? The Seahawks also should have pulled their guys early too. To be fair,
yeah,
that was Ian Rappaport.
Everybody would have been pulled off the field once that clock hit 0 in the third quarter.
Yeah,
I would have pulled everyone off the field, both sides. Pulled everyone out.
Yeah. Anyway, continue on New England. I'm sorry, it's just score and circuit. Which again, that's correct, but still, it is kind of bad that Seattle kept their guys in as well.
Like, here's the thing: the Patriots are 7-2 after this game, right? The record's good, the defense is good. Vrabel's a great head coach. Drake May's playing like an MVP. But with all those things, why are they still not scoring more than 20 to 24 points a week? Why are they stalling out for long periods in games and letting teams hang around for so long? Like, they only scored 3 points in the second half against Atlanta. I mean, granted, Atlanta's actually had a good defensive season, but it's Atlanta. They almost beat you, and they probably should have. Like, it's like, I'm not panicking on New England yet because they're still overachieving. So like no one's expecting 7-2 out of them. So I can't really panic about them because honestly they should be worse than what they are at this point. Like given the trajectory of where they're going, but what their play style right now is just not sustainable. Like Drake May looks the part, he's playing the part, he's an MVP candidate, but they don't score 30 plus points a week. Like they're not doing it on a high enough level to where I can look at them going into a playoff game and think, oh, they're gonna win that game. They're not doing that. Like a lot of their games that I watch, like look, it was 24 this week. It was 32 against the Browns, but it was the Browns. A lot of their points came off just bad quarterbacking from the Browns. 31 against Titans, okay, whatever. But 25 against the Saints, 3 against a bad Bills defense, 42 against the Patriots, I'll give them that one. But you scored 14 against a bad Steelers defense. You barely beat the Dolphins. And then you only scored 20. You actually lost to the Raiders. I mean, that was early in the season, first game of the season, but you lost to the Raiders by 7. Like, the thing is, their big wins are against bad teams, but then also a lot of their wins in general are just not convincing wins. It's not enough to make me believe in where they're. Now, next year, I think they can be great, but this year, like, they're 7-2. But they almost feel like the Minnesota Vikings from years ago, where it's those one-score games, and it's like, yeah, they're winning and the record's great, but what are they really doing to prove to you that they are an actual contender? Now, listen, they're ahead of schedule. They are. This is great for them, and I think that they could win a playoff game, but I think that's their ceiling this year.
Yeah.
Like that, it's just not. It's not like. I can't look at them going into a playoff game and saying they're going to win that game. I just can't.
Well, I think overall, right, we talk about talent for certain teams, but with New England, I mean, this receiving core is not really there. The running game, I don't even know what it is. It feels like everyone's hesitant to start the rookie Henderson. I forgot what he did in totality today. I have to look at it. But it's like they don't really know fully what they are offensively with these other pieces. And then defensively, too, it's not fully there. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the primary, I guess, 2 or 3 reasons. Scoop, do you have anything to add on that?
Again, it's kind of hard for us to know what they are when I don't even know if they know what they are. Like it's
that's actually a solid point. Yeah.
I'm struggling to see what Raheem Morris and company are trying to actually make this team. Now, again, I don't think that necessarily your identity has to strictly be, oh, you're just a running team or you're just a passing team. I don't think that, and I think that can actually at times be counterproductive. Now, but
no, but I'm just saying for New England though, they just don't have the talent there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were still talking about Atlanta.
Either way, with Atlanta, weirdly, it's kind of similar. It's kind of similar, to be honest. But with New England, I mean, the talent is kind of even on par with Atlanta too. So you're still on the right track.
Yeah, but if we're going to juxtapose the two organizations, I sure as shucks trust the coaching in New England much more than that of Atlanta. Now, that being said, I say that from a tactical and strategic standpoint. We get to a point of player development and player personnel, all of a sudden that doesn't become quite as true. Now, they've done well over the past year or two, but I need to see more of that to make up for the fact that they were dog water for about 5 years in that department. And if Penix does eventually, kind of become what people who liked him think he can be, then we look at that decision to draft him even with having Kirk Cousins and we think, oh, okay, that actually wasn't so bad. Because again, I will say this, in defense of them, 2020, I think it was, a lot of people thought that the Green Bay Packers should draft an O-lineman or a wide out. They went quarterback, caused a quarterback controversy. and now to at least to a good.
I mean, but
amount
they
of
kept him
people-
on the bench for 3 years. There wasn't really a controversy. He was just on the bench because the Packers know how to handle those situations.
Well, that was the next thing I was going to say is the difference being the Packers have earned trust when it comes to handling quarterbacks. The Falcons have not. So, I think but I do kind of think there was a controversy at times because when the Packers, or I'm sorry, when Rodgers would struggle, there were those calls for Jordan Love and that type of thing did end up being part of why he pushed his way out and pushed his way to the Jets. So I would disagree and say that there was a bit of a controversy there. But the main point that I would hammer home in terms of the difference would be that the Packers, probably more than anybody in the NFL, have earned the trust and earned the devil's advocate when it comes to handling quarterbacks. The Falcons couldn't be much further away from that.
Yeah. And then Scoop for New England. I mean, the concern there with a lot of those one-score games just is the talent surrounding Drake and May, which just isn't really there offensively and defensively.
Well, it's and those one-score games. I mean, we see this across sports. The one-score games record from year to year is very unstable, and it's not a I forget what the word is, but it's not a stable form of evaluation.
Yeah,
that's not the word I was looking for, but yeah, sustainable. That also helps. But it's so volatile from year to year where I can look at a team, and that's why the teams that tend to win, let's say 10-7 or 11-6, but five of those, but they went 5-1 in one-score games. That's why teams like that I tend to take with a grain of salt going into the next year, because that's almost always going to regress to the mean and maybe even beyond. So, I mean, shucks, we saw it with the Eagles earlier this season. They were winning a lot of one-score games, and then what happened? We saw what happens when some of that's not going your way, because that can be as simple as one good play you made, one bad play the other team made, one call you got by the Zebras. It could be any number of things. So, and again, like I said, I need to see more from not so much from Vrabel, but from the personnel departments and the acquisition and scouting departments from the Patriots for me to really trust that the nucleus is there. I can like what I'm seeing from Drake May more than I thought I would, and I can like what I'm seeing from more individual players more than I thought that I would. But until then, I mean, that kind of goes back to what we said about the Steelers defense to start off the show. It's one thing to be a collection of talent. To be a cohesive unit is another thing.
Yeah, you know what else too? So they've played. So out of their 9 games that they've played, right, at a 7-2 record, 6 of those games have been one score. They're 4-2 in those games, so easily could have been flipped the other way. And then there are 3 games that weren't one score, which were obviously blowouts. Came against the Panthers, the Titans, and the Browns.
So 3 awful teams.
So it's like,
I will respond to that. Hang on, because what do you have it in front of you? What the score of the game was against the Browns?
32-13.
Okay. Well, I mentioned this because that game against the Browns, you're talking about an emerging offense against the main thing that people like about Cleveland is that defense.
Yeah.
So, I am looking at that, and again, and you mentioned the Panthers. Panthers again went up today against a team that a lot of people still like in the Packers. Granted, the Packers lost Tucker Kraft during the game, so that obviously does factor in. But I'm not as willing to just completely write off victories against the Packers and the Browns right now.
I think it's fair. I look at it and I go, where are those teams, going to be like they are every year? Bottom of the barrel. Those games. Like, now, granted, like I said, New England is over. Like, they're overachieving. Like, no one expects them to be nowhere near where they are this year. But when I look at New England, the one thing I get in my mind. And listen, they could very well surprise us and really pull off a crazy run, but they feel now it's not a Linsanity run because I think they're building something special. So it's not Linsanity because Linsanity is only 1 year. But what I say
that was kind of more of what we felt about like the Blue Jays, I think.
Yeah, but this feels like a Cinderella run for New England this year, where it's like everything is just going right for them, they haven't had anything go wrong, really. And it's like because everything has just gone right, and they're winning a lot of these, close games, and 4-2 in those 6 games, but it's like, it's just, what we're really going to find out what they are when now next week's a real good test. Bucks in Tampa. That is a really good test.
That's a great game, by the way. That's an amazing football game.
And then you play, but here's the thing: the rest of their schedule after that is not really that crazy. I mean, obviously, against the Patriots, and they've had an easy schedule this year, but Jets, it's the Jets. They'll beat them. Bengals. Now the Bengals could give them a little bit of a test because the Bengals offense can score like crazy, and the Patriots offense really can't. I guess at least they haven't done it enough. Then you play the Giants, who Jackson Dart's not a pushover. And then you play the Bills again. And the Bills, depending on what happens with this division, that could be a game that the Bills really need. You can get a really hungry Bills team at that point. But you play the Ravens in Baltimore. And by that point
I was just checking that Bucks game. That's an early window game, sadly.
Yeah.
That should not be an early window game.
Yeah,
Is it too late? Is it too late for them to flex that?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, it sucks because
it's
they
2 weeks. 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, they really should. They really should flex that Jets Patriots game the week after. Nobody wants to watch that on prime time. That's disgusting.
That's awful. Yeah,
and then
I'll go through some of it, but it's awful.
And then Giants Patriots December 1st is also an 8:15 game. That should be flexed out. That's not a good game. That could be something worthwhile, I guess, maybe because of Drake May versus Jackson Dart. So maybe they'll keep it. But I don't think that's a good game. I don't know what the schedule is for the NFL.
What week is that?
December 1st.
Week 13. Oh, that's Monday night. Okay. They probably should flex that out.
Yeah, that's not a Monday night game I think worth watching, especially at that point of the season.
I would rather see Bills Steelers.
Yeah. Yeah, so would I. That's
I'd rather see that.
Yeah.
And it's Broncos Commanders. Even that I would flex out. Oh my lord.
Well, I mean, I would have liked it before assholes today didn't take it out.
that's
exactly what I'm saying, Scoop. Right where I was going.
Yeah. And now with Jaden Daniels' arm being in a cast the size of a freaking Mack truck,
Yeah.
I mean that's a serious, if it wasn't a serious injury, he'd just be walking off like holding his arm, something like that. But no, when you put it in a cast like that and the players are all
immediately
crying, yeah, and the players are all crying knowing that that's probably his season. Those games are gonna get, any game with the Commanders at this point is gonna get flexed. If it's a primetime game, it's gonna get flexed now.
Do you have anything else on the Patriots, Brandon, or?
No, I still like them. I still think that they could make some noise. Like I said, the NFL this year is very, the parity really is there. But it just feels too much like a Cinderella run for me, and I'm weary of that because all these teams that kind of pop a year early, they don't make any noise in the playoffs, and then it kind of starts to be like every year kind of becomes a little bit of that same kind of thing. So, the Commanders last year, they popped a year early. Now this year, everything's going wrong. New England feels like they're popping a year early, so I'm a little bit hesitant to really believe in them like others do, even though I love everything that they're doing. It's just that I'm hesitant.
Yeah. Here's a great stat that's going to shock you guys from the Seahawks. So this is from NFL Plus's Next Gen Stats. Seahawks rookie offensive lineman Gray Zabel has not allowed a sack this season at all, and has the 6th lowest QB pressure percentage allowed among offensive linemen.
That's why you guys wanted him.
That's incredible for a rookie. Gray Zabel, the rookie.
Oh yeah,
the rookie offensive lineman. God, just unbelievable stuff from him.
And that's why in the draft, we kept saying, when we were doing all the mock drafts, you guys wanted him. That's why you want him. That's quite literally why he's been fantastic this year.
He's been a Pro Bowler, and honestly, even more than that, an All-Pro.
Mm-hmm.
An All-Pro so far.
By the way, the Bengals defense is bad when one of the trending Google searches right now is Cincinnati Bengals defense.
It's trending on Google.
It's trending on Google. That's how bad it is. Oh, boy.
That's absolutely amazing. All right, let's finish up right as Sunday Night Football is also about to finish their broadcast as well. Good timing. This is what happens when you get an insane blowout really early. Before we head out and end our day, let's finish up talking about one of the greatest World Series ever. Scoop, what are your thoughts on a 7-game classic?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, let me just acknowledge the fact that you can say that, oh, nobody wanted this series, or oh, the series is bad for baseball, and I'm not trying to hear that. I'm really not trying to hear that. This, yes, the team that spent the most money this year was in the World Series. You know what else? These top two teams, and I've said it to y'all before, these are the top two teams that spent the highest percentage of their revenue on payroll. That is what teams should do, okay? Yes, I wanted the ALCS to be the Yankees versus the Mariners. But you know what? As a baseball fan, as someone who loves the game, as someone who has loved the game since I was a little child, as someone who was since I was a wee scoop, as somebody who has loved this game for about 20 years, probably, or getting close to it.
When you say wee scoop, I just think of you getting scooped up.
That is exactly what I said. That is exactly what I said. There we go. Wrong hand. But I could not have asked for. We could not have asked for better baseball. You know, for how much of the postseason were we saying these games look like who's going to stink less, who is going to make fewer mistakes. At the end of it all, it came down to literally came down to the final pitches. It literally came down to something. It came down to one pitch from Jeff Hoffman, and it came down to a clutch play at the plate. All these different things, and that's what Baseball World Series is supposed to be. It's supposed to come down to plays like that. It's supposed to come down to the high leverage moments. It's supposed to be the best going up against the best. And I don't care how many of the 225 possible combinations of 15 AL teams and 15 NL teams you can put together, there was not going to be a better one that was going to yield us a better product of 7 games than this one saw. And what's one example of that? This game got a higher watch rate than the Super Bowl. When was the last time an MLB postseason game, no matter what round, outdid the Super Bowl in terms of I don't have the answer to that. But
it's because the Super Bowl was a blowout. But even so, it's impressive.
But even so, there have been bad Super Bowls that still dominate in ratings. Even the I can't remember what one, but there was one that was like a 20 or 30 point outset a couple years ago that still had very high ratings. And I think it just go, and it's just such a good place for the game to be, especially with the looming potential lockout next year. My gosh, do I ever hope that this is, and I'm sure I'm going to hear people squealing this all off season long about salary cap and salary floor. I'm already hearing it, but I'm sorry.
I mean, I want it bad still,
which is fine. But I'm sorry, I'm going to keep saying it. Ed Rogers and Mark Walter are not the reason that the Pirates and the Reds and the White Sox are bad. They are not.
And by the way, I want a salary cap and salary floor, and I still massively agree with you because stupid ownership is stupid ownership.
Yeah, but here's one of the pushbacks I'll make on that is, and I'm not saying inherently that I hate the idea itself, but here's one of the pushbacks that I'll make on it. It's that the teams that, let's say the LA Dodgers, right? Let's say that you cap them at $295 million. They're some of their best players this postseason. Tommy Edman, Enrique Hernandez. These weren't the guys making $20 or $30 million. These were the guys making $8, $9, $10 million. And I'll say, and I'll add another thing to that. These guys who are free agents, whether they're international or they're local, you don't think that they'll just say, okay, yeah, I'll take $5 million less to go over to to LA, these guys will just take pay cuts to go together, and they'll still create great teams over there for less money because they know that when it comes to LA, you've got the branding, you've got the marketing, you've got the advertisements. They'll make that shit back up. And excuse me, sorry. I mean, the Shohei Ohtani is forfeiting 98% of his current contract because he knows how much the branding and the I'm if players want to circumvent it, they're going to circumvent it, and it's just and it's going to, and these owners. Okay, and even if we put in a floor, which I think we should, but even if we put in a floor, they're just going to gobble it up with these mid-level veterans who are going to be 33 and 34 years old guys who wouldn't have had a job coming out of spring training, in all likelihood, and overpay those guys. I don't think that the impending lockout is worth what people think we're going to get. I really don't, and that's one of the myriad reasons why I'd hate to see it. It's not or despite what people want to say, it is not because I'm a Yankees fan. Cap the Yankees spending for all I care. I just think you're going to really hate what happens if you try this.
Well, so there are a couple things. So I think a salary cap and a salary floor is necessary because baseball just overspends beyond belief, and it's actually really stupid and dumb in a lot of like a 13-year contracts worth almost $1 billion is nuts. Like it's insane. But in saying that, the problem is what happens to those contracts if a salary cap and floor like it's a mess. But that being said, it's like I don't know, because like if we get to that lockout, like what I think the biggest thing I'm curious about, Brandon, is like what is the dialogue going to be internally from the PA, from the owners? That's where I'm more interested, is like, where's that internal dialogue going to go? And then obviously that means we're barely going to get any baseball because we all know the internal dialogue is not going to go anywhere.
Like the lockout is coming, they said, after the 26th season, right?
Yeah, that's when the CBA is done, yeah.
So, I mean, baseball, every time baseball goes through a lockout, it's bad for the game.
Yeah,
it's incredibly bad for the game.
Like in other sports, it really hasn't killed the game that much. People can kind of live with it, and it gets back on track relatively quick. But when baseball slows down, because especially with how good it's been over the last 2 or 3
so that's part of it too for me. Is do you want to kill that momentum?
Yeah,
especially when you had, as Scoop said, higher than Super Bowl ratings, an amazing World Series.
Yeah.
Next year is also going to be great. Who knows how many great postseason baseball games we're going to get next year?
Yeah. See, my big issue when it comes to handing out like those ridiculous like contracts, like the Soto contract or the Ohtani contract, is like, I remember when we were little kids, and A-Rod's contract for the Yankees was massive. And at the time that was the biggest deal in baseball, and it's crazy that it's not even a third of what guys like Soto and Ohtani are getting now. And it's like, I remember still looking at I still look at that. I mean, obviously, I'm an average person. I still look at that as a lot of money because it is. But in sports, it's not. And I'm just like, but here's the thing, too.
Dude, in average sports, the Juan Soto contract is stupid.
Yeah, like
it just is.
Like, look at the amount of money that like hockey players make, right? Like, hockey players make quite literally. Everybody goes insane over a 9x9 contract. 9 years. $9 million, whatever it is. But it's like, you got to realize that for hockey, that's a lot of money. But it's like for every other sport, that's absolutely nothing. Like,
it's peanuts.
It's insane. But it's like, contracts are going up, and everybody's like, oh, like, and here's the one thing that I kind of hate with what fans do is when they say, oh, well, it's not my money. But here's the thing: the bigger the contract, like you're going to give a big contract to a star player. You're going to buy that jersey probably for a big price. You're going to pay more at concession stands probably to like, it does affect
it becomes your money.
It becomes your
Yeah.
money. Like it's not that it's not your. I hate that it's not your money excuse or it's not my money excuse because it is. You might not think it that way, but it is.
And baseball runs on gate money a lot.
And that's a big thing. Is and we keep saying like it's getting harder and harder to go to baseball games. Like a family of 4 can't really go unless there's some sort of deal or whatever that they get, like a family day thing. Like that's a big problem. Is like you. Like, and this is why kind of like that's kind of where I can see the whole cap thing coming into play, where it's like you don't like the overspending is insane. That it's like at what point do we just need to like or can we even just reset ourselves back to the norm? Like because it's like everybody keeps saying, "Oh, this is the new normal," but it's like people are struggling to eat and live, let alone go to a baseball game. So, or any kind of sporting event, really. So it's like, at some point, it's gonna have to come to a head, and eventually, and unfortunately, that's what we might get with the lockout. But like, but just in terms of this series, like this series in general, is great for the game. But they need to figure out a way to circumvent or to avoid that lockout because that's gonna kill a lot of this momentum. But I think that just for this series alone, just to look at these 7 games, just from a baseball standpoint, forget the money point of it, but the Dodgers spending or the Blue Jays spending a lot, whatever it is.
And by the way, not this is not for you specifically, Scoop, but I just think as a whole for baseball, it is very sad that the conversation after these 7 games starts with the lockout and the money. It's sad.
It is. It entirely is.
Yeah. Like. Anyway, continue, Brandon. It's just sad.
Looking at these 7 games, and I hate a lot of older people are like, oh, this isn't one of the greatest World Series. All right, I can give you like 5 or 6 of them. It's like what, back from 1973 when nobody was born yet? Yeah, good one.
1920s.
I don't care. Like this, I don't care what anyone says as of right now, because this is the most recent one. As of right now, this is a top 3 at least World Series ever. Because I heard one of the guys at TCA chat, James. I love James. James and I see eye to eye on a lot of things. But James was like, "Oh, I think 2016 with the Cubs was better." I'm like, "Well, no."
A lot of my friends said that as well. That like we had it neck and neck, But I'm with you, Brandon. I think this one's better than 16.
I don't, and I'll tell you why I don't think so. Listen, the Cubs ending their whole drought and whatever, of never having won and whatnot, and all that kind of stuff. I get it. It's a great storyline, but there was multiple shutouts in that World Series. Nobody wants to watch a shutout in a World Series. There was, we want to watch a good pitching duel, yes, but you need to score some runs. So I think you had 2 shutouts in that series. I don't like that. For me personally, I don't like that. You had only 2 times was the series tied. In this series, it happened 3 times. It was 1-1, 2-2, and 3-3 going into Game 7. It wasn't. But in 2016, I believe it was 1-1, and then it was 3-1, and then it was 3-3. So you had 2 ties in that series to 3. So that automatically makes this one better. This one had more game-saving catches, had more high-leverage moments, had more big pitching decisions, had more just bigger hits, for God's sake, had bigger home runs. Like this, and I mean, every time you turned on the game, in every half inning, it felt like there was a diving play that was made, or a huge defensive play, like to keep the game alive. I mean, Vladdy in this series was looking like that he weighed about 150 pounds less than what he usually does, because he was actually making plays athletically that he hasn't made in his career ever. Like, these guys were literally putting their body on the line. Both these teams are putting their body on the line for this ring. This is also not for nothing. This storyline also has, Clayton Kershaw's retirement. He was done after this. Max Scherzer, he says he's not done, but going into this before he kind of made that announcement, this could have been the last time we saw Max Scherzer pitch, and he pitched a Game 7. Like, this World Series is better than 2016 because there's about 20 things I can name that are better about this World Series in 2016. So 2016 is out for me. And then I get to, we talk about like the '01 World Series. Now, we were barely alive for that, either being basically 1 year old. But, yeah, that series was great. Yankees, Diamondbacks, the whole, Mariano Rivera blowing a save opportunity, Yankees choking away Game 6 and then ultimately losing Game 7 on a blue hit from Luis Gonzalez, that kind of stuff. I get that. But, but the thing is that, I guess you could probably say, hey, the Arizona was a dynasty killer in that because the Yankees had just came off of winning 4 out of 5. But, and of course, 3 straight, looking to make it 4 at that point. But, the Yankees have won their rings already. This one for the Dodgers was a back-to-back thing. But when you look at kind of just, I like the whole thing with this series too of U.S. versus Canada. That's always a storyline because everybody talks about that. Toronto right now is the only Canadian team. Having a Canadian team in the World Series, this opens it up for Canadian expansion in the MLB, which is going to be a big deal, big talking point, especially as we get towards a lockout and a whole new deal and things like that. So, there's so many things to like about this World Series, and I mean, just the back and forth of it. It was like no team ever had the edge in this series. It was literally one team won, literally, because I said it, 3 ties in the series. So one team won, next night other team won. They get the day off. They get one team wins, next team wins. Next, back and forth. So I look at this. I mean, even yesterday, the Jays should have won this World Series. They blew a 4-2 lead, 4-3 lead, and they had a chance when it was 4-4 in the bottom of the 9th with bases loaded and 1 out to win this game, and they couldn't do it. So it was that's drama there. I don't think either of the World Series that we're talking about, 16 or 01 or whatever, I don't think any of that had this much drama in it like that did. So, and that's another thing too. On top of that, I think this World Series, we have multiple extra inning games. I think in the other ones we only had maybe about either was none of the games went to extra innings or one.
Hey, we had an 18-inner that was amazing.
Yeah, we had an extra innings game that went the length of 2 games. So, I don't get when people are saying it's not one of the greatest ever, or that it's not I think because honestly, in my eyes, this is the greatest ever I've ever seen. It's the greatest ever. Because I don't think the storylines, the actual games being played, the catches, the home runs, the pitching performances, especially from Yamamoto, who deserved MVP. We got a complete game out of him. That's another thing, too. Have we ever had in a World Series, if it's 16 or if it's 01, those 2 World Series, did any pitcher ever throw, because I don't think they did, a complete game, pitched 90-something pitches in a Game 6 and a must-win, and they won that game, and then comes out...
And he had just pitched a complete, or a shutout, or a complete game the last time he was out.
Yeah, thank you.
And then on top of that, every time the Dodgers were about to need one in that 18-inning game, or when they needed one in Game 7, Yamamoto was like, "Hey, can I pitch?"
Yeah.
And he was like, in the 18-inner, he was warming up, and they didn't even need him.
And you know what? It is too. It's you want to talk about also just like heroic moments, because I mean he pitched his arm off pretty much quite literally. It's you even get to Miguel Rojas, who's, 36 years old. This guy's a long-time veteran. He hasn't hit a home run since September 19th. And he hits one to tie the game in the 9th inning. The thing is, he's the second player all time to do that. The last one happened in 1960.
That was really good timing for my narratives about wanting Miguel Rojas in New York.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, no way did the Blues, and because that hit, I believe, was off Hoffman, who was the Blue Jays closer.
Yeah.
There's so many storylines in this game, in this series. How can you not say it's the greatest ever? 01 was not this. 2016 was not this. This is the greatest World Series of all time. Period. And if you disagree with me and you can prove me wrong, go ahead. But I still think it is. And I've watched a lot of baseball, just like Scoop has, the last 20 years. I've watched a ton of baseball. This is the greatest World Series ever, and I won't hear anything else. Unless you can prove me wrong, I won't hear anything else. Because I mean, maybe I can give you some grace if you think it's maybe top 3. That's fine. But I see people saying it's not one of the greatest. You need to get your eyeballs checked.
You know why, especially Game 7 was great. I've been trying to, I don't know. I've been trying to explain to my parents the basics of baseball forever. Just like what first, second, and third base is. What's a double? Like I was trying to explain my dad what a double is the other day, and I couldn't do it. I can't. They were minions, right? They grew up watching soccer, or football, as it's called there. They didn't grow up watching baseball. My dad, who doesn't know a lick about baseball, I think watched the whole game. He straight up watched the whole thing. Like that's how good it was.
God bless.
He straight up watched the whole thing. Like, oh my god. Just great baseball. Scoop, do you have any thoughts on the actual 7 games? Do you agree with Brandon that this is the best World Series ever?
Yeah, I mean, I personally, and I mean, obviously, the World Series went for many years before we were born, but from the history that I know, and I consider myself a history buff when it comes to baseball. From the history that I know, I have a hard time being convinced. Now, again, you can tell me that there were individual games that were like,
for example, course,
like the Don Larson perfect game, for example. Like if you want to tell me that there were individual games that were better than anything we got this, sure, yeah, I'm not gonna disagree with you. 1 through 7, and listen to what I said, 1 through 7, because think of how many World Series games didn't even go 7 games, or series didn't even go 7 games. So 1 through 7, and it just felt like each game, each moment, each player, each play, it just felt like it was building on the insanity that had preceded it. And and shout out to Joe Davis, that call to end the series. I don't know a ton about Joe Davis in terms of his like track record and history when it comes to calls, like in individual calls, but you'd be hard pressed to find a much better way to end the World Series than the way that he did. And I just keep in mind, God willing, each of us, if it's what we decide to do and what's in God's intention, one of these days we're going to be passing on the history of our history of baseball to our kids and telling them the stories that like our dads and grandfathers and families did when we were growing up. And I damn sure can't wait to tell them about the 2025 World Series.
Now you know what it is too. I love Joe Davis because Joe Davis is an honorary Philadelphian because every time he calls Eagles games, the Eagles win. His track record of calling Eagles games is like 19-2 or something.
Holy crap.
So I love hearing Joe Davis.
Can we also add Kevin Burkhardt worked like an insane shift with Fox?
Yep.
He took a flight from Toronto at 3 a.m. and called the Vikings game this morning.
Yep.
Just incredible.
KB is everything that I love. Like KB is literally me. KB grew up an Eagles fan. He grew up in North Jersey, not too far from me, like 15 minutes away. He literally is one of my favorite. Even before I knew he was an Eagles fan, a Jersey guy. He's one of my favorite commentators ever. Every call that he is on is electric. Some people don't like him. I'm like, listen, a lot of people don't like a lot of commentators. I love KB.
He's not only great play-by-play, but he's just a great studio host. Him running with that crew
KB does everything
was amazing.
So well. I cannot find as much. I'm trying to think about it. I can't find a single guy that can do all those things so well. I can't think of one.
It's insane. Yeah.
Love
it. And by the way, the studio show for Fox was just absolutely hilarious. Oh
my god!
Insanely ridiculous.
The group of Jeter, A-Rod, and Big Papi together is holy shit. Those guys are hilarious.
It's so good.
Brandon, I know. I'm pretty sure you do. I'm not, but you guys know Joe's McFly.
Yes, of course. We love Joe's.
Well, I couldn't remember if he was just a Yankees guy or not. But when he went and did Blue Jays lose,
I thought that was so funny.
freaking amazing.
Oh man, like
The
you know,
Yankees lose thing. That's going to be something we tell our kids because that was fucking hilarious.
I mean,
I'm
it's
sorry,
like-
I know it was bad
like,
for you guys, but that was
yeah,
so
but
funny.
that's why for us it was like the best hate watch of the Blue Jays ever. It's like,
Okay, no, but I thought that was the one thing I was gonna say that I almost forgot. I think the funniest part about this World Series is you guys had rooting interest with the Blue Jays,
Yeah.
as a neutral observer, oh my god, this was so much
Like,
fun
because
for
like,
7 games. If
listen,
you're a Dodgers or Blue Jays fan, especially if you're a Blue Jays fan, oh my god, I couldn't even imagine. I
I'm not
couldn't even imagine the heartbreak.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
had heartbreak with the Mariners. The Blue Jays heartbreak is
I
so
mean,
much worse.
Can you imagine what Dodgers fans felt having to go back to Toronto and having to win both games in Toronto? Like, like that's just something that just if you're a fan going into that, a Dodgers fan, you're like, oh crap, the series is over. Like, there's no way we can win 2 in Toronto. And then it's funny, like I'm looking at how, the Blue Jays, listen, for the Blue Jays fans, listen, of course we don't like the Blue Jays. I'm not a petty person, but I'm a petty sports fan.
Yeah.
If my team can't have it, the division sure as hell can.
Yep.
Like I don't care.
Hell, I typically don't root for the AL champion, like the whole AL champion, if it's not the Yankees.
It's I'm see, now that's even more petty than me, because if it's just a regular AL champion, as long as it's not the Astros in the AL West, they're like included in my hate watch.
No, I'm not even kidding. Ever since I was little, I almost never have rooted for the AL champion.
Like, it's for me, it's like I'm okay with the AL winning as long as it's not the rest of the AL East and the Astros. Anybody else, I'm okay with in the AL. But and because you want to have some sort of AL pride, but I think that
is it weird that the Blue Jays are in the American League? Does that trip you guys out at all? It doesn't do that to me anymore.
No, because you know why?
Bro,
because
I've literally not thought of it before, and now you've said it, and now it's gonna bug me out. Literally had not thought of it.
Wait, you've never thought of that before?
Because it's the it's the American League.
But I will say this, even I will say they are still technically in North America. So
Yeah.
I guess.
But I'm so pissed that you pointed that out now.
I did not realize that before.
Actually, you know what? You think about it, it kind of would almost be worse if they went into the National League, because they're not in the same nation as the rest of
they're
not in the.
You're breaking my brain. I hear you, but you're making it worse.
But here's how I rationalize it, why I'm okay with them being in the AL. When you think about the American League East, so where Toronto is in Canada is on the eastern part of Canada.
No, it makes sense divisionally. That's the point.
Yeah, divisionally it makes sense, because when you look at and the thing is, Toronto is pretty much just upstate New York, just slightly further. That's basically.
I'm so pissed at the amount of people who called me Canadian this past week.
I mean,
what
listen,
do you mean people called you Canadian?
I make that joke.
People keep making the joke that I'm basically Canadian because I'm from 45 minutes from the freaking border.
But here's the thing: is I make fun of Rob for being 2 or 3 hours away from Canada. I make fun of you from being 45 minutes away.
Wait, you're in Mississippi. Where's your closest Canadian town? Why am I tripping?
Well, because
I'm from Rochester, New York.
You're from Rochester. Yes, that's basically Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, not
basically Canada.
I think I'd be closer to Canada if I flew, if I went south and came back around.
You know what's funny? You could walk to the border if you wanted to.
I have to drive 2 hours.
Maybe I couldn't walk there, but
yeah, we know.
You could scoot. You could scoot with scoops.
What it is.
I just gave you a new Instagram tag. There you go.
So
I've changed that damn thing so many times.
As much as I don't feel bad for the Blue Jays as a whole, and I'm trolling them and whatnot, there's 2 things I feel bad about. First of all, Don Mattingly being on the wrong side of that, and second, is just if I was a fan, like to put myself in those shoes to have that heartbreak at home. And I mean,
Oh
listen,
my god.
Toronto should technically be used to it because that's what the Maple Leafs do every year.
That was but wait, Brandon, that's what makes, you know what's funny? I listened to a bunch of Canadian like people like our guy 2BC who does hockey. We know about him, or like Eck, those guys, the hockey guys.
Yeah.
They really like Game 7 in Toronto. This is what happens. They just know.
like when they interviewed the fans coming out of Game 7, like they were all depressed. You can see that their soul had left their body because they're just numb to Toronto collapses. Like it was the weirdest thing. Like the guys were like, you know what? It is what it is, but at least there's next year. I'm like, my God, that man has no soul left. He's done.
because of the Maple Leafs.
Like that's the thing is like I do feel bad for the fans though because it's like see they're used to it with the Maple Leafs and Toronto's used to it as a whole, like with the Maple Leafs and the whole Game 7 thing and whatnot. But you did get a ring with the Raptors, you got that, and and the thing is, but here's the thing is like in baseball, Toronto wasn't good for so long. Then they had a couple spurts with Jose Bautista and Donaldson and Encarnacion and those guys, but it was only like for about 2 or 3 years, whatever it was, that little run they had. But for 30 years they hadn't won a ring. Now, as Yankee fans, we're on 16 years, and I'm already ripping my hair out. If we had to go 30 without a ring, I might not be here anymore. So, Toronto fans going that long and then finally getting to the World, like we said last year, the Yankees finally got back to the World Series. And it's like, yeah, it was half the time of the Blue Jays. So it's like, for us that was long. So it's like for Blue Jays fans to wait 30 years, or no, over 30, 32.
32.
Yeah.
And for it to be
can I just say, for the one person here who's never seen my team go to the World Series, God damn it!
This that's why I feel worse for you guys because like just getting there would have been a reason to celebrate.
Oh, just getting there, I would have popped champagne
because you guys had never been there. So it's like
never been.
Like that's why I hope to God next year because I want the war to ensue among our friendship. I want Yankees Mariners to tear our group chat apart in the ALCS.
The amount of FUs in the chat that whole series would be amazing.
I want it so bad, like I need air to breathe. Like
we should have had it this year, but
really,
because you know what I want
before we did.
I want to get to a Game 7 and somehow we throw Cam Schlittler out there and say, "Hey kid, go do it again, go get him!"
Against Cal Raleig's big dumper.
Yeah, freaking Cal Raleigh, and then pumping 100 past him for strike 3 to end the series. Like, yes,
that's my God! So and then we just punched the floor. No, but what was it? What's the other piece of this? Oh yeah, okay. Sportsnet. You know what? I'll say this about Sportsnet though. I'm fine that they're salty about it. I get it. This is the first time I think in my life. I mean, obviously Canada's different with hockey because they have their own broadcast. But I remember in 2016 when they had their run, they only did the simulcast of the Fox streams. So there was no just, hey, let's put the Sportsnet guys on there. I thought that was pretty cool that you had the Sportsnet broadcast of the World Series. I thought that was a nice touch. I thought that was really cool. I think we need to continue to do that.
Well, I wonder, would they have done it if it wasn't the Jays?
Well, they didn't do it in 2016. That was my point.
Oh, okay. So
they didn't do it at all in 2016. They just did the Fox simulcast, from my recollection. If you're listening in Canada, by the way, God bless you for listening in Canada. We appreciate it. But if you are, let me know if I'm wrong on that. But I think it was the simulcast. But also, I do agree with a lot of people that Fox didn't really do a good job of covering Toronto.
Yeah,
I thought that was so. I don't like that. American broadcasters, and this happens in hockey too, they just kind of dismiss the Canadian teams, and I really hate that, especially when the Canadian teams are good.
I've noticed
Like,
that.
I think we talked a lot more positively about Toronto on this show, and we don't even cover baseball that heavy than Fox did.
That's one thing I think I've noticed is like
and that kind of goes with Sportsnet as well, but not as much because that's their team. That's their team. I get that.
Yeah, I think I heard it during the broadcast too. It was like, you know, even when the Jays were close to closing that Game 7 out, it was, oh, can the Dodgers come back? Can the Dodgers come back? Can the Dodgers come back? It wasn't like, can the Blue Jays hold on or can the Blue Jays...
Yeah, which is what the storyline was for us when we were watching it.
Yeah, like it was like, yeah, it's like, you know, us in America, we understand because it's LA, it's US against Canada, so we understand. But if you're a Canadian watching that, you've got to be like sick, just like hearing them just completely just.
I was, because it's just like I was sick watching it even from a neutral perspective. I just think that's just dumb broadcasting. I just don't like that.
I mean, because who on the Blue Jays did they really give credit to throughout this entire series? Basically, it was the main guys that everybody knows: George Springer and Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
And a bit of Scherzer, yeah.
Yeah, and Scherzer, because Scherzer's a legend. But other than that, like outside of those three guys, who do they really put a spotlight on ever in that series?
Versus not even Ernie Clement, and he was great this series.
Yeah, they didn't mention him having a great series until Game 7. I'm like, guys, it's Ernie Clement. This guy literally has a postseason record right now, and we're not talking about it enough. Like,
I get that there's this whole U.S. Canada thing, but like from a broadcasting standpoint, if it's not USA versus Canada in the Winter Olympics, which we're gonna get, hopefully, I'm very excited for that matchup, that hopeful potential matchup. That, we shouldn't have Canadian teams just get railed on American broadcast. It's really stupid.
You know what I'm thinking of right now, and this is kind of going back to more so on the TSN side of things. And it's not like I'm gonna hate on Canada here for a second.
Oh, you mean Sportsnet or?
Oh yeah, Sportsnet. Sportsnet. Yeah. Like they has anybody noticed how for some reason this year, it's obviously this year, like they've been really, really chirpy and really, really like salty about things over the course of this season. Like,
it's definitely a lot because it's seeping into American media. It's really weird because it's because we know that we knew it was chirpy even like mid-season, but the fact that like seeped in during the World Series was really weird.
Like you had a guy, I forget his name, after first of all, when the Yankees and Blue Jays are going back and forth, the Blue Jays almost blew the division, and they're sitting there trolling the Yankees after every broadcast. I'm like, okay, relax, like. You guys act like you've been there before. Like they weren't doing it on the broadcast. I'm like, can you guys act like you've been there before, please? Instead of trolling the Yankees every 2 seconds. And then, they get on, they like as a broadcaster, you're supposed to keep your emotions in check, even if it's for your home country or whatever. The one broadcaster goes on after the game, right immediately on the post game, and says, "Oh, the better team lost this series," and it was basically like giving like a scathing indictment of the Dodgers. I'm like. They just won. Like, what are you?
And by the way, my thought process was I didn't agree with that because I thought it was more defense wins championships, and the Dodgers won because of their defense.
Exactly.
And when a series is that close, the team that wins.
I have a question. Was that the same twerp who was saying all summer that the Yankees were such a bad team?
No, it was.
I don't know if it was the same person.
It was. This guy, I forget his name, but he had more foreheads than Peyton Manning.
Okay,
but like I'll show you the video because I think Rob, did you post it in the channel center or did I? Someone did.
I might have posted it. I don't know if I have the video, but I'll run back and look at it.
Remember the guy was saying he was really salty that the Jays had lost. He was like, oh,
he was insanely salty.
I'm like, bro, you're a professional broadcaster. Are you really going to come on the air and the first thing you say is that you're going to be so salty about your team losing? I follow some Jays fans on Twitter or whatever from fantasy who do like fantasy baseball stuff, and I'm like, if you want to say that, I get it, like totally. As a fan,
that's fine. even if you cover fantasy baseball, that's fine. Like I was totally fine with that. I was like, I get it.
Like
You know?
can't say it as a broadcaster. You just can't, that can't be one of the things you say. You can talk about like, yeah, the Jays didn't play up to par, you know, or like you can say it in a different way. Like you might think they're the better team in that series, but you can say, oh, I thought they were the better team in moments, but ultimately, you know, the Dodgers won. Like that's okay. But him getting on live air and saying like and being insanely salty about it pissed me off because you can't be a professional in this business and lack professionalism. So
Yeah.
like you just can't do that. Like I don't know if you can find it, but I know it's there because we did put it in.
I'm trying to find it. But either way, he basically just said, "Oh yeah, the Dodgers were the better team in this series," and blah 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 blah. I don't know why he didn't save it.
It's all the way like
I'm pissed I didn't save it.
It was literally from last night too, and that's why I have to like.
I'm pissed we didn't save it, but either way, Scoop, do you have any final thoughts before we go?
Again, just grateful that we got to see such a great, series.
You did post it. Sorry, Scoop. I found it.
Did you find it?
Not the audio clip, but this is exactly what he said. This is the statement.
Yeah.
He said, "It's going to sound like sour grapes, and I don't really give a shit. I think the better team did not win this series. I think the Blue Jays are the better team." That's exactly what he said.
I mean, it was sour grapes, but
it's like you can't say that and also curse on the air too. Like you're not Pat McAfee. You don't get that luxury. That's not professional.
All right, Scoop. Any final thoughts before we go?
Yeah, no. I mean, as I was starting to say, just grateful that we got the series that we did. Looking forward to us talking more next week about obviously going to be excited to have the Eagles back. Looking forward to hopefully a great week of whatever other sports you follow, because obviously football won't be on for the next 4 days. And baseball's over. So.
Well, Monday night is going to be stupid because tomorrow it's Cowboys Cardinals, so we're gonna have fun recapping that tomorrow.
Kill me now, but so enjoy basketball, hockey, whatever other sports you follow. Guys, have a great week, and we'll reconvene tomorrow night to suffer through that combination.
Yeah.
Where I hope the game ends in a tie because I hate both teams.
All right, well, that's a good way to end it. Peace out, everybody. For Brandon, for Scoop, for myself, Robert. Hope you enjoyed our weird and wacky Sunday. Peace out, everybody.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, everybody.